It's Monday of week one in major college football. Yes, it's finally here. I'm Yogi Roth, and I'm going to do this every Monday where I kind of call it Tell the Truth Monday. I'm stealing that incredible phrase from Pete Carroll when I was at USC. That's what we had every Monday, Tell the Truth Monday, where you just get down to the truth. Who played well, who didn't play well, what was a loaf, what was a great play, what was a bad play call, what was a great play call. You just get to the truth. So we're going to be doing that every single week. Obviously, there's only a handful of games in week 0. Honor to call USC San Jose State. And I think when you look at the truth of the Trojans right now, they're a lot better than they were a year ago. And they were, you could argue, a healthy Caleb Williams away from a CFP berth. I think let's just start with the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. You can just see where he went to work on situational football, playing quarterback from the pocket, trying to sit in the pocket. There's a play in the first quarter where he goes right to left and gets to number 4 in his progression. You see the growth. And I think for somebody who's been told, they're the greatest because he did win the award as the greatest a year ago, he is not sitting on those. He's goal-oriented, mission-minded. The team is following his lead. Defensively, the truth about them, they give up a couple busts or explosive plays, but I really like what I see. I'm really encouraged by what I saw from Alex Grinch's defense at SC, specifically the front 7. 9 defensive transfers, 7 played considerable snaps. And on the defensive line, there were a couple drives where it was all brand new transfers, guys who played a lot at their previous school or had big-time projections at their previous school, like Anthony Lucas. To me, really impressive playing the rush edge position. So that's kind of the truth on the Trojans. I have them again this weekend against Nevada on the Pac-12 networks in the afternoon on Saturday. It is going to be fun. I think as we look towards week 1, we've got 2 Thursday night games, Arizona State, Utah. We know Utah's playing Florida. Pretty fun matchup based on what happened a year ago. And then the SEC versus the last year in the Pac-12, at least as we know it. And then we have Friday, Hawaii and Stanford. Stanford yet to name a quarterback. That's the one school we don't know who will start a quarterback for them in the Pac-12 conference. And then Saturday, there's a slate of games. And then Sunday, Oregon State against San Jose State. So I know the Beavs were watching that game this past Saturday night. I think some truths that we're looking at heading into this season is when you look at the quarterback play, every school in the Pac-12 has a transfer quarterback. Every single one. Cal, Sam Jackson, Oregon, Bo Nix, DJ Uiagalelei, Oregon State. Stanford, we don't know. That's the one we don't know. But everybody other than them has a transfer. Michael Penix Jr., Cameron Ward, Jaden DeLaura, Shedeur Sanders, Ethan Garbers, of course, Caleb Williams, and Cam Rising. Now, one of them starting a true freshman as well. So Jaden Rashada at Arizona State. So among the schools that have quarterbacks there that have transferred in, a majority of them are playing them. See what Stanford does, and Arizona State, of course, going with the freshman. I want to talk about Arizona State and Jaden Rashada. I did not project him to be the starter in year 1, but his upside is so high that Kenny Dillingham went with him, and also what he earned in the back half of training camp at Arizona State. He's got a live arm, and I love that he's just playing confident. And I think a big part right now in major college football, the truth, is that NIL is a big deal, especially with quarterbacks. I wrote the book 5-Star Quarterback with Joey Roberts. It's hard for guys to manage other people's expectations on them. But when you have the right people around you that are front-loading the skills necessary to deal with all this, like Bo Baldwin, the OC at Arizona State is, Kenny Dillingham did it at Florida State, did it with Bo Nix last year at Oregon, along with Dan Lanning. Now he's going to do it with Jaden Rashada. You give yourself a chance to go play free. And that's going to be the one thing I'm going to be looking for on Thursday night is him playing free. The unfortunate part of Thursday night for Arizona State is they announced earlier this week that they are having a self-induced postseason ban on their program. They're not going to go to a bowl game, even if they do qualify for a bowl this season. I understand it. There's an ongoing NCAA investigation, but your heart breaks for guys like Jalen Conyers, some of the veterans on this team that have been the leaders since Kenny Dillingham got there. I've always felt that whenever an institution goes through something where there are sanctions involved, why are the players who weren't even there the ones getting penalized? We find ourselves in that situation once again at Arizona State. I've talked to some of those players and just said, hey, leave it on the grass because you'll be able to leave a legacy. Remember what Christian Hackenberg did at Penn State? I remember the day that the sanctions came down at Penn State, he was at Elite 11, and he didn't flinch. And look at how he's revered on that campus. So I think the senior class at Arizona State has a phenomenal opportunity to get even tighter because this group will remember one another forever based on what they have to go through, based on a new coach. And there's renewed optimism at Arizona State. I can't wait to watch them play on Thursday night. Speaking of Thursday night, the truth around the quarterback at Utah is we don't know. I don't think we'll know until moments before kickoff. But with that said, the one thing I do trust the most is the defense at Utah. This is the best defense in this league heading into the season, and I think one of the best in the country. At every layer, they've got next-level players, whether it's Jonah Ellis, whether it's Barton at linebacker, Cole Bishop at safety. There's so much talent there. Kyle Whittingham has said it's the most talented roster he's ever had, and if you remember 2018, 2019, those were pretty talented rosters as well. So I think the defense is going to carry him, and they're going to try to make life miserable for Graham Mertz, the transfer from Wisconsin, starting at Florida. Love Graham. He's an insane competitor. He will not flinch in the moment, but I'm curious how much activity he feels in that game and the pressures from all different angles, from the boundary, from the field, up the middle, the twists and stunts up front. I mean, he's playing – he might be playing one of the best defense he'll face all season long, and I know that he plays in the SEC. Some other news, Ethan Garbers becomes the starter. That is a truth at UCLA. Really happy for him. This is a guy who's the younger brother of Chase, of course, from Cal and the NFL with the Raiders. Ethan went to Washington, transferred to UCLA due to the ridiculous rules that are no longer there in the NCAA. Thankfully, Ethan had to sit out a year when he transferred to UCLA, but he never wasn't focused. He always stayed locked in and dialed in behind Dorian Thompson-Robinson. You saw the moments that he had to play. He had a start at Utah a couple years ago. Dorian wasn't always healthy, and I'm not surprised that he earned this job. Now, we're going to see Dante Moore, who is as accurate of a passer as there is among any of the freshman quarterbacks in the country, and I'll argue a lot of the quarterbacks in the country that are playing. I mean, he can kind of do what Aaron Rodgers was doing if you watch Hard Knocks. You remember the two squares that you can throw into a net? Well, he was hitting the corner of whatever one he wanted to. I think most college quarterbacks are kind of hitting the area around the net. What Dante Moore can do, he can really, truly make spot throws. And when he gets his shot, I think you'll see that. You'll also see Colin Schley in their nightcap on Saturday night against Coastal Carolina. So there are a lot of stories. I think all eyes will probably be on TCU and Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. What happens there? That is a truth that where I think everybody would say, we don't know. But I can't wait. I am all in on the hype train. I can't wait to watch and see how they do, how they handle adversity, how successful they are, how they move the ball, what the defense is like. There are a lot of things that we don't know to be true, but we'll find out. And we'll come back next week after truly week one, where everybody is on the field, and dive back into it. Every Monday, if you have any questions, hit me up on social media or just drop them into the chat here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. And as always, how grateful are we? How lucky are we that we get to talk about this game? So let me know what the questions that you have, and I'll dive into it as much as I can every single Monday. Tell the Truth Monday. Here we are, week 1, days away.